You thought you would feel different by now. You reached the goal, finished the project, got the thing you wanted for months, maybe years. And for a moment there was something, a brief flicker of relief. But then, nothing. Just a quiet return to normal. Maybe even a strange kind of emptiness. You don't say it out loud because you're supposed to feel grateful. So why does your brain go silent right after it wins? You imagine the finish line for so long. Your mind rehearses it. If I just get there, I'll finally feel complete. So you organize your life around it. You delay rest, delay joy, delay peace, because those feelings belong to the future version of you, the one who has made it. But when you arrive, the emotional payoff doesn't match the psychological investment. You wake up the next day and everything feels strangely ordinary. The same thoughts, the same insecurities, the same baseline emotional state. This creates a quiet identity disturbance, because if achieving the goal didn't fix the feeling, then what was all of this for? This is where many people enter a psychological loop they don't talk about. They don't slow down. They immediately search for the next goal, not because they're inspired, but because standing still feels uncomfortable. Because without a target, they don't know who they are. This isn't ambition. This is something deeper. It's something your brain has been doing for a long time, and it has less to do with success and more to do with survival. Here's what most people misunderstand. You don't feel empty after success because something is wrong with you. You feel empty because your brain was never designed to feel satisfied for long. It was designed to keep you moving. From an evolutionary perspective, satisfaction is dangerous. If your ancestors felt permanently fulfilled after finding food once, they would stop searching, and they wouldn't survive. So the brain evolved to treat achievement as temporary, not permanent. This process is called hedonic adaptation. Your nervous system resets your emotional baseline after positive events, not to punish you, but to keep you functional, to keep you motivated, to keep you alive. But there's another layer most people never realize. Sometimes it's not the goal that gave you meaning. It was the pursuit. And without the pursuit, your identity loses its structure, which leads to a question most people avoid asking. Were you chasing the goal, or were you chasing the version of yourself that existed while chasing it? To understand this, you need to understand how dopamine actually works. Most people think dopamine is the reward chemical, but neuroscience shows something different. Dopamine is not about reward, it's about anticipation. It spikes when your brain predicts progress towards a goal, not when you achieve it. This is called the reward prediction system. Your brain releases dopamine when it senses movement towards something meaningful, because movement signals survival. But once the goal is achieved, the prediction is complete. There's nothing left to anticipate. So dopamine drops, not because you failed, but because the system has finished its job. Imagine dopamine like a GPS voice guiding you. It speaks while you're driving. Turn left, go forward, almost there. But once you arrive, the voice goes silent, not because the destination was wrong, but because guidance is no longer necessary. This silence can feel like emptiness, but it's actually neurological completion. There's another mechanism involved too. It's called identity-based motivation. Your brain builds emotional stability around consistent roles, someone who is trying, someone who is improving, someone who is becoming. These identities create psychological continuity, but when the goal is achieved, that identity dissolves, and the brain enters uncertainty, not knowing what role to play next. This creates a temporary emotional vacuum because your nervous system prefers motion over stillness. Not because stillness is bad, but because stillness is unfamiliar, and unfamiliar feels unsafe. The solution is not to chase bigger goals, it's to change your relationship with pursuit itself. Here are 4 principles grounded in how your brain actually works. Step 1. Shift from outcome identity to process identity. What to do? Stop defining yourself as someone who achieves outcomes. Start defining yourself as someone who engages in processes. Why it works in the brain. Identity-based motivation research shows behavior becomes stable when tied to identity, not results. This reduces dopamine crashes after completion. Example: instead of "I finished writing a book," your identity becomes "I am someone who writes." The process continues, so your brain doesn't enter psychological withdrawal. Step 2. Anticipate the emotional drop before it happens. What to do? Expect the emotional neutrality after success. Why it works in the brain. Prediction reduces emotional shock. Your prefrontal cortex stabilizes emotional response when outcomes match expectations. Example: before finishing a major project, remind yourself, "I may feel calm or neutral after this. That's normal." This prevents your brain from interpreting neutrality as failure, because the brain fears the unexpected more than the unpleasant. Step 3. Create continuous micro-pursuits. What to do? Always maintain small, ongoing challenges alongside major goals. Why it works in the brain. Frequent progress signals maintain steady dopamine regulation. Example: after getting a promotion, start learning a new skill. Not for achievement, but to maintain movement. Your brain doesn't need massive goals, it needs consistent forward signals. Step 4. Separate emotional fulfillment from achievement. What to do? Stop expecting goals to permanently change your emotional state. Why it works in the brain. Emotional baseline is regulated by nervous system patterns, not external events. Example: notice how your emotional state on a random quiet evening can feel peaceful, even without achieving anything. This teaches your brain that peace is not something you earn, it's something you allow. Think of your brain like an engine designed for motion, not parking. Goals are not homes, they're roads. The meaning was never in the destination itself, it was in the version of you that existed while moving towards it. This is why the emptiness appears, because the engine is still running, but the road disappeared. So the real skill is not learning how to arrive, it's learning how to remain in motion without needing escape. Not chasing to fix yourself, but moving because movement is your natural state. There's nothing wrong with you. Your brain did exactly what it was designed to do. It guided you forward, and then it became quiet. Not because the journey was meaningless, but because you became someone capable of reaching it. The emptiness you feel is not failure, it's space. Space where a new version of you can exist, not defined by what you achieve, but how you continue. And maybe the real shift is this: you were never meant to feel complete. You were meant to feel alive while becoming.